Welcome to another beautiful day. It is the 15th day of May 2024. Welcome to Outnumbered, reaching your life on the red from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Nigeria. My name is Ramsey Enoch, and of course, I'm not alone on the program as usual. I have Dorcas Asoba. Good morning, Dorcas.
Good morning, Ramsey.
Good morning, Michael.
It's good to be here. Good morning, sir.
Well, Michael
Good
is
morning,
joining
Dorcas.
us today.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
So how was your rest? You rested
Splendid,
well.
splendid.
Yeah, it's actually showing on your faces. All right, let's begin with the leadership newspaper this morning, where we have some of the major headlines saying something very, very leading. FCTA to demolish another 500 illegal structures. Details on page 17. Protests in Kaduna over Chibok Dapchi girls. Details on page 12. And that takes us to the next story, which says despite PIA, petrol import monopoly persists. And of course, that's on the leadership newspaper. Moving away from there, 80 residents missing after bandits attack Katsina community. Details on page 7. This one says Abuni appoints late emir of Takau's son as successor. Then the big story says airport access fee. This is very key. Airport access fee. No more VIPs. Everybody must pay. Federal government declares that, and I have some riders to that story. The rider says sites loses to preferential treatment, targets 10 billion naira revenue. Tinubu, Shetima, Akpabio, Abbas, others not exempted. Everybody must pay. Okay? I think this is good. All right, this is good. More money coming, not just the poor. Someone said, one of my analysts on the review the other day said, well, what the rich do is that sometimes some of them dodge tax payment and the heaviness, all right, the burden comes on the poor. But then I think this is a good one. No more VIP, everybody must pay. Federal government is even the one declaring. And leadership by example, they said the president, the vice president, talking about the Senate president, and even Abbas himself are not exempted. And the final Rider says deploy technology for monitoring. Stakeholders are the ones saying that. And that's going to be the size of the headlines from the leadership newspaper this morning. Many other headlines right there, but then time will not allow us to take everything. You can do well to go to the vendors and pick any of these headlines that appeals to you so that you can read it on your own. Over to you, Dorcas, for the next paper.
I'll be going through the Daily Sun. The bold story I have here is ASU issues strike notice, and there is 3 riders to this story. Accuse Tinubu of nonchalance over education, and the second one says varsities operating illegally in last 1 year without governing council. And the third one says, give 2 weeks ultimatum. And another story, Abia government drag Ikpiasu to EFCC. Abia government drag Ikpiasu to EFCC. And there's 2 riders to that story over alleged 10 billion naira embark for airport projects. And the second one says governor left 3.4 billion naira for OT, says former commissioners. You can get that on the Daily Sun newspaper. Another story on the Daily Sun newspaper says alleged 19.4 billion naira fraud. EFCC to arraign Sirika brother on fresh charges. There's a rider to that story. File new charges against ex-CBN governor Emefiele over printing of naira notes. You can get that on the Daily Sun newspaper. O2 secured 3.5 billion Afrimax Bank funding for Bakas Deep Seaport. Well, I don't know about that. Zamfara, over 500 people in bandit captivity in Zumi Rep. And the last story for me on the Daily Sun is traditional rulers, 2 others killed, 17 houses, 10 bikes burnt over land dispute in Benue State. I don't know when we're going to start fighting over land in this our country. Over to you, Michael.
Thank you very much. Now, onto the big story on the Daily Trust. Terrorists abduct over 80 in Katsina. I have 2 kickers to that story. Women among victims. Military confirms Sunday soldiers killing in same area. Details of that on page 4 of the Daily Trust. And other riders, tariff protests don't delay our plan for power sector. FG tells Labour. Details of that on page 6 of the Daily Trust. Also, Nigeria UN seek $306 million to end food nutrition crisis in Borno, Adamawa, and Yobe. Details of that on page 6 of the Daily Trust. Another rider, FG eyes 20 trillion pension fund for infrastructure development on page 3. Now, away from that story, ASU gives Tinubu 2 weeks to constitute Varsity's Governing Council. Details of this on page 4 of the Daily Trust. And just before I end stories on the Daily Trust, President suspends cybersecurity levy. This one is interesting because people have been talking about this on social media. And also, Niger Speaker halts wedding plans for 100 orphans. Thank you so much. I move back to you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Michael, for those beautiful headlines. Let's quickly take you to the next headline, which is going to be coming from the Daily Independent. Tinubu Shetima to pay toll at airport gates. One writer to that story, Keyamo, says no more exemptions. VPs must now pay. I think the first paper, the leadership, said it's coming from the federal government. And here we have it that Keyamo says no more exemptions. VIPs must now pay. All right. Okay, we inherited huge debt burden from Wike's administration. That's coming from Fubara. The feud in River State is not over yet. More still coming from the Daily Independent this morning. The big story on the Daily Independent says federal government to deploy 20 trillion naira pension funds to drive economic growth. And I have some riders to that story. The first rider says that to invest in housing, power, rails, roads, and technology. OK's 96.297 billion naira for generators for State House street lights, bus terminals. Another rider says approves a private partnership with Transform Infrastructure housing sector. Then the last rider to that story says begs NLC, TUC, not to derail plan for electricity sector. Federal government to deploy 20 trillion naira pension fund to drive economic growth. Those are the riders to that story. Moving away from there, let's talk about this. Obi's meeting with Atiku Saraki, others not connected to 2027. LP is the one saying that. Details on page 6. And then this one says DSS invades court. Arrest defendants despite judge warning. Details on page 6. I don't know how this sounds. I don't know. But then DSS invading the court, okay, to arrest defendants despite judge's warning. Well, I don't know. The pedigree of the judicial system is, should I say, is wobbling, or there is something wrong with it. Because this is not the first time we're hearing things like this. We've heard where court judgments, all right, are not being followed by some persons in the society. And I don't know who is above the law. This shouldn't happen. ASU threatened strike over non-constitution of Varsity Governing Council. Once Tinubu, two riders to that story. The first one says once Tinubu academic staff dying over cost of living. Everyone, not just academic staff alone, everyone, a lot of Nigerians are dying over cost of living. Cost of living is so expensive. The second rider says ANEC reconvenes in 2 weeks to take decisive action. And that's going to be the size of the newspaper review this morning. And we will return after this break. And when we return, we'll talk about the fact that FCTA has lined up 500 houses to be demolished. Houses, shops, whatever it is, you will get to know after this break. We will be back.
Follow us on our social media handles at Oweleketv. Visit our website at www.oweleketv for a thrilling journey. Oweleketv, rising star at the fairground.
Welcome back from that break. It is still outnumbered live on your screen on this beautiful day. And we want to talk about something very striking. When the residents of Abuja hear of demolition, there is this bell that rings because of what happened during El Rufai. A lot of people were moved from FCT, some relocated to their village, some other persons, so many, I don't want to say some things, but a lot of people had different experiences. And right now, we're hearing that FCTA is to demolish another 500 illegal structures. Then questions begin to come to mind. Why are they demolishing this structure? You know, Nigerians, sometimes they are head bent over certain things. And if you look at it from the other side, because the information we have from the papers say they've been given a warning severally, they've been told, they've even had a sensitization meeting with the stakeholders so they can move to somewhere else, because the shanties, the shops, okay, along Karimo Dede Road, they said, constitutes some nuisance on that road, which is not suitable for FCT, and it also causes gridlock. But then, one of the things you need to look at again is the accessibility of the places that they are being asked to go to. Then you still take into consideration certain things, because as a matter of fact, Abuja has a plan. All right, there is a plan for Abuja, but 500 structures. What do you think about that? Let's begin from Dorcas.
It's a big tragedy. It's a very, very big tragedy, because this is my house and I am used to my house. I believe I have built a house for myself. Let's talk of the market people. Okay, market, they can be moved, and market can be moved at any time. We know that for the government, but houses that have been built, the house that they built, the amount that they used to build that house then, if they want to build that now, they know what is going to cost them. The tragedy, it's a big tragedy that I cannot
this particular demolition, these illegal structures are actually, they call it shanties, okay, and it is markets.
But there are also, if you've been to Dede, because I live in Dede, if you've been to Dede, that particular place that wants to be demolished, there are good houses there. They are not all shanties. And if there are, let's say we have like about the larger percentage of shanties around there, what about the houses that are good structures? I believe these places were well planned before people occupied that place. If you come to my own area around that place, you will see the way the whole street and the whole street was arranged. It was well arranged. There is a close, there is a crescent, everything was well arranged. Then why this demolition?
But demolition is not coming to your street, is it?
It's not, definitely not.
Okay, because they're talking about illegal market shanties in the Karimo Dede Road.
From that Dede down to where I stay, it is well planned.
Okay.
It is well planned. If you get there, you will know that this is a planned environment. But those shanties, of course, people have this attitude of giving themselves a little, where they find space, they try to settle there. But there are houses there. What is their fate? Because I just put myself like my house now in that place, and they just marked it for demolition.
Okay, it's been marked already?
It's not marked.
Okay.
And I just as you.
You're given an instance.
that my house is being marked now. In fact, my countenance at the office, everybody will know that, something is wrong with Dorcas. Do you understand? So what is the fate of these people? What are good? Is there any provision for them that, okay, as your house is going with the demolition, is there any form of compensation? If there's any form of compensation, will it really cover the damage or the stress that they are going to go through?
I actually understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I think what you're saying is no matter what they do, they should be careful with the residents, the residential areas, because even the shanties in the market, despite the fact that there are shanties in the market, there are some residential buildings close to the market too. She is advocating, because she said she lives somewhere around that access, that no matter what they do, if they want to touch the shanties, they shouldn't touch the residential buildings. All right, let me get to Michael. Michael is looking like I don't want to say the FCT director of public affairs, but then Let me ask you, Michael, the way it is now, from the information, it's been said there was a sensitization meeting with the stakeholders. And yesterday, they were there to give them 24 hours notice. What do you think is proper that the government would have done, apart from giving them notice ahead of time? She talked about compensation. Are you in the same school of thought? Okay, because first they will come and tell you, well, it is illegal. They will always use that word, illegal.
Yeah.
All right.
Very well.
When they use that word illegal, then you will say, okay, it is illegal. So they have all the rights to bring it down. But then, where were they when these people were putting up the structure? For how long has this market existed?
Well, I believe from the words of the FCTA Assistant Director, Mr. Garba, he said they've been served notices over the years. Even when the development control chairman came out and said, that's Mr. Mukhtar Galadima, came out and said we've heard sensitization programs with stakeholders. Now, when you talk about stakeholders, okay, they went through the local government. The chief. Yeah, the chiefs of the palaces, they went to the local authorities to sensitize these villagers, because when we talk about shanties, it is localized shops that encroaches into the main road, and it impedes free flow of traffic. When you go to that place, it's deplorable. I've had experiences of that, actually. For those who are trying to access that place on market days, you will spend 5 hours as if you are in Lagos traffic. It's been deplorable for years. And I know they've been served notices in that Karimo market road access. Now, the shanties we're saying we want to relocate you to a better shop. And the stakeholders are saying, okay, whatever you need for support to relocate into a better shop, we'll give you. What else do you need to be adamant and reluctant?
Will there be support? Because sometimes when you talk about relocating, if you're being relocated from a shanty and they're taking you to a better place, you have to pay. You have to pay for rent. Then you begin to look at the kind of businesses these people do. Can they really afford the rent? I think one of the things, okay, that the authorities should look into is the affordability of the place they are moving them to.
Absolutely.
Because if that place is not affordable, imagine someone doing a business in a shanty and you're moving the person to a central area, maybe to a more developed area with good structure, where the person is supposed to pay 1.5, 2 million and all of that. At the end of the day, those who have the money will rush to buy those shops. And they start subletting to these people in a way very expensive. So I think one of the things that I feel the authorities should also look into is the affordability of these places they are moving them to. Because as it is obvious that the FCT minister will not take a no for an answer. Reason being that the team leader also disclosed that the FCTA had awarded a contract for the Life Camp Day road construction, saying that the traders' continuous stay on the road, at the corridor of the road, has prevented the contractors from walking.
It's at the corridor.
It's at the corridor of the road. And you know, Wike will not take that. Because the way Wike is walking in Abuja right now.
You can be going on the road and you just see a baby. I call them a baby toddler, just crossing the road. Okay,
along the access.
Yes.
So
that's what we're saying.
It's an eyesore. And what I would solicit for the FCTA and the government and the minister is to please make sure that those that will be relocated from the shanties are those that will inherit the new shops that are built. Let it not be that the few VIPs, those that have more money, will come and rush and take the shops. And these people will resort to stealing. At the end of the day, if you're passing on that road, they will stab you and collect your phone.
Well, this is going to be the size of it. But then what we are saying to the authorities is that they should try everything possible. It's a good one. Well, relocating the people, it's good. But then they should try as much as possible to make the new place affordable, because these people are already operating in shanties. And you know what shanties is. Now, they shouldn't allow the big men, the VIPs in quotes, acquire the place and sublet it exorbitantly to these other persons who are trading, trying to manage their life in these hard times. My name is Ramsey Enoch. It's good that you are part of today's Outnumbered and the Big Story. This is where we'll call it a wrap for the day. We'll come on your way again, same time, same station, tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.